Hi, Steve Moss, Moss Harp Service. I had a reader to the blog who wrote in recently with a good question, so I thought I would address it on this video. I have an article I wrote on the steps of regulation. I don't know, I wrote it a year or so ago, and it's available on the blog and on the website, mossharpservice.com. Anyway, I talk about going over the pedals and checking pedal action and checking for loose connections, because sometimes when you hear a click when you move your pedals, it can be coming from a loose connection in the pedals, whereas other times it can be coming from up higher in the mechanism. So a reader wrote in and said, well, how do you know? Where do you check, and what are these loose connections? So I happen to be working today, and I've got a harp sitting here, so I thought I'd shoot some quick video and some pictures and try and answer that question. So here you go.
So here's a harp. I've got the bass off of it. Bass is down there. I just want to point out a couple of the most common areas on a harp where pedal clicks might occur. Your harp may not look like this if you take a look at the bottom of it. This particular harp is an 85 Petite. There are different kinds of connections, and there's different colors of hardware that you'll find on different harps, and some are screwed, and some have a pressed-in pin, so there's a lot of variations. This is intended more as just a general guideline of some areas to look at. The place where the pedal attaches to the pedal rod, which in this case is, if I use my finger, it'll be a little easier, right there. This is the pedal rod coupling, and this is the pedal bar. You can see the pedal is up here. So that's the pedal bar, pedal lever. They're connected right there, and this little pin is pressed in. Now that pin is fit so that it's a very tight fit, and there's no play when you move the pedal. However, the hole that it's going through can get a little bit worn, and then you can start to get a clicking sound when that pedal is moved. So the way to test for that, which I can't do without dropping the video camera, is to put your finger on that spot, holding over the coupling, and then pulling the pedal back and forth and feeling for movement between those two parts. If you feel a little jump when you pull the pedal back and forth, then there is probably a loose pin or screw or what have you in there. Now, if it is a screw, sometimes you can just tighten it, and that'll take care of the problem. Sometimes the hole is worn, and tightening the screw doesn't help. And in this case, there's not a screw. It's a pressed-in pin, so it depends on what kind of harp you have. The second place to look is where the pedal rod coupling stops and the pedal rod continues on up into the harp. You see this black piece on this harp, that's the pedal rod coupling. The silver piece running up that way is the pedal rod, and they are actually screwed together. Underneath this coupling there is threading, and that allows the coupling to be adjusted for length. They can also wear in this spot. As a pedal is pulled back and forth over time, you can get some wear, and so you can have a loose connection there. So the way to test for that is the same thing. You would put your finger on that spot right where the coupling ends and pull the pedal back and forth and feel for some play. And if you have some play, then that can be the source of your pedal click. Now, fixing these things is another matter altogether, and I'm going to leave that for another video, one where I can get a tripod and use two hands for one thing. But this is just an answer to a recent question, is how do you determine if you have a pedal click or is it up in the mechanism? And these are the ways to rule out some of the more common pedal clicks. I'd say as far as what to do about it, if you have a pedal click like this, it's usually pretty easy for a technician to fix and potentially fixable by the harpist, although I'm not going to get into that right now. If you don't feel any play in those areas, chances are your click is coming from up in the mechanism, which is not something that can be fixed outside of a major re-riveting in many cases. So thanks for watching, and I will talk to you next time.